Welcome to Game 3 of the series. Cheese against Barton. Again, Cheese did have faction selection this game and has chosen Soviets. And Barton decided to pick Ostheer instead of Oberkommando West. He absolutely could not make OKW work, especially not against defensive tactics. But Cheese is going to change his strategy. He's not going to go defensive tactics. He's going to go conscript support, which against Ostheer probably not necessarily that strong. But Barton doesn't have access to mechanized assault or close air support, which are, or even lightning war, which are what you generally expect. He is going to have mobile defense, German mechanized, and Festung support. So, interesting loadout. I'm expecting mobile defense because it does have the Puma and the command tank, some nice features. I'd be quite surprised to see either one of these. But I guess we'll see. Going to see 3 Grenadier opening from Barton, going very aggressively down the right side, maintaining control of this building and this entire general area, in fact, and his opponent actually going hard left. Nothing but a squad of combat engineers going right initially. Conscripts will be able to take control of the left side unopposed. Getting the fuel and munitions under control there, and Barton actually taking full cutoff control and ignoring the resource points for now. Not entirely sure where his opponent is, but probably has a general sense that there's something over here if he saw any flashing territories or anything like that.
But it is done.
Pioneers throwing down some barbed wire right here.
Area secured. The hard part.
We have more conscripts at our disposal.
We have liberated this sector. Pioneers!
Pioneers heading right to take control of Victory Point, throwing down more barbed wire, though it's going to become difficult later in the game for Cheese to maneuver through this area. He's probably going to need to get a minesweeper instead of a flamethrower to clear some of these barbed wire fields, but he can still walk through the building and through this avenue. Grenadiers continue to just secure buildings and cutoffs rather than taking resource points. As long as he can maintain building control of the right side, he should be able to somewhat survive. Molotov research already from Cheese, though, which he will try to use to flush these Grenadiers from buildings. Pioneers, not upgraded with a flamethrower yet. He doesn't quite have the munitions together. He may be able to maintain control of this building, but those Molotovs are going to make it dangerous to attempt to do that. Monsters walk through their own flames, though, taking quite a bit of damage. Grenadiers move to support in this engagement. Grenadiers falling low, need to fall back and get into some cover if at all possible. Conscripts have taken control of this building with Molotovs, and Barton will have to fall back and figure something out. Grenadiers setting up in yellow cover with superior numbers will win against that lone conscript squad, bringing them low. This squad oorahs up the left side and takes control of the building, and this squad is moving to cut off all of Barton's resource income from the right. Doing a good job of keeping this wounded squad relevant by using them for back capping. Pio is also doing some capping over here. While the full health Grenadier squads move to counter, these conscripts will not make it to the building in time, unfortunately. Grenadiers will simply blob on the right side of this building to try and engage as cost effectively as possible, jumping into the green cover over here while an MG42 moves up. He has maintained control of his cutoff, so that's good. These two squads moving up, putting pressure on Barton from the south, and a 5th squad of conscripts is on its way. 2nd squad of combat engineers on its way. Combat engineers taking control of the right side fuel point will be forced to retreat by flamethrower right there, so they both have one flamethrower now. One squad of grenadiers is going to retreat there, and grenadiers are doing what they can against these combat engineers here. Molotov going into the building. Grenadiers will leave the structure, try and reposition to safety. MG42 setting up right here is unable to get a line on any conscripts because Barton is fighting for the right side rather than the left side this game. And there may not be anything wrong with that, it's just very difficult against Molotovs and flamethrowers to maintain building control, and medium range engagements have a tendency to to favor Soviets, and there are a lot of medium and short-range engagements on this half of the map. But Barton does have access to one flamethrower now, so that can help him in this engagement range. That Molotov, though, Molotov completely flushes him from cover and wins the engagement for Cheese. Everything will be forced to retreat right there, and there's a pretty good chance of the flamethrower getting wiped, which is probably not a loss Barton can afford. Trying to maintain control of his cutoff in the north here with a machine gun, and Grenadiers have taken building control. Conscripts in this structure are not able to wipe the flamethrower. Flamethrower will get away alive, and Barton might want to stick in Tier 1 a little longer before going Battle Phase 1 into Tier 2. In my opinion, against conscript support, if you're up against 5 cons, 2 combat engineers, you maybe want to get like a 5th grenadier out, or a 2nd machine gun, or a mortar or something.
We have a mortar team available for deployment.
And actually, Barton will sort of do that by fielding a mortar half-track. He just picked joint Festung support. Festung support gives him the mortar half-track. Interesting. So rather than getting a mortar half-track. See if that decision pays off over the course of the game. We'll have to work hard to keep that thing alive against Urian conscripts with AT grenades, but it'll definitely help him against buildings. Putting pressure on that building already, he will force that squad to reposition to safety. And a couple squads moving up here on the right side will try and push away this squad of conscripts. Molotov toss on that Grenadier squad will force them to retreat, and this Grenadier squad moving back into yellow cover will fire on these conscripts from a distance. MG42 firing on these conscripts as well. With mortar support, easily wins the engagement. Hit the dirt will also be countered quite effectively by this mortar, up to 2 kills already, and hopefully it will continue to perform well for Barton over here as he tries to get some resources back under control and hopefully slow down Cheese's rush to Tier 3. Which he doesn't quite have the fuel for a T-70 yet, but he's going to be there very soon. Tier 3 structure going up, and by the time it completes, there will be a T-70 on its way. So Barton at this point should definitely start thinking about getting up Tier 2 and getting out an AT gun, maybe a Teller mine. Because clearly right now, he doesn't need to worry that much about winning the game, just survival. Because against a commander like this, it's all about survival. Once you make it past 7 CPs, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be fine. Because there's nothing scarier than Soviet Tier 3 coming for you. Once you make it to your own Tier 3, you'll probably be in a pretty good situation. The Panzer IV has a good chance to be the strongest tank on the field. So even without access to Tigers, Barton has a pretty good chance this game. Flamethrower piles making their way right to get control of this area, and Grenadiers are getting control of the strategic point. MG42 over here on the right side might consider advancing a little more aggressively, and it looks like with Grenadiers in this building, there's a pretty defensive screen of vision around that mortar, keeping it well protected, which is going to, of course, be important. You can see that Barton has pretty good knowledge of all of his opponent's movements. A couple squads healing in the base need to make their way back to the front line. The mortar is just going to continue to hover in this general area. Flamethrowers making their way up the center, and these 3 squads will get encountered by that mortar, trying to pull off a flank right here. Ooh, mortar is slightly off target. This is going to have to kite away from those conscripts, which are going to get bled on their advance. Barton is going to circle around them to the north. Ooh, rather than going back towards the base, he's going to get trapped on the right half of the map. PPSH is upgraded on these conscripts, which is going to actually make them not that great in this range of an engagement. Mortar misses its shot again against that conscript squad, but it looks like it will get to safety. In fact, there's not even any AT grenade research here from Cheese, so I guess he had no intention of taking out that mortar on this push, just trying to cut off Barton's resources and inflict as much economic damage as possible while he waits for his T-70 to arrive, and it will be here very soon, and that will be a much more serious threat to the mortar than anything else Cheese currently has on the field. Tier 2 is up, AT gun is in production. It's going to be a little bit late. T-70, if it guns straight for that mortar half-track, may be able to take it out, but it will have to, of course, be careful of Panzerfausts. No Teller mine on the field anywhere from Barton, so no reason for that T-70 not to just dive straight down the center of the map. Double flamethrower means that Cheese has no minesweeper. He could potentially get punished by a Teller mine, but Barton just hasn't planted one. T-70 hitting the field, gets shot off on those flamethrower piles. Looks like they will get to safety. Maybe. Close call, but they do get away. Flamethrower taking control of this sector, taking damage from the mortar, and the T-70 is going to go in on more infantry, but not gun hard for that mortar half-track yet, which is not really making a move to retreat. Lone squad harassment of the left will go unopposed, by the way, so good move by Barton to send a squad over there to get that under control. As long as he has vision of the T-70, harassment should be a relatively safe thing to do. MG-42 firing on the T-70 with AoE suppression might be able to suppress some of those squads. AT gun fires at the T-70 and will get 2 shots off. He activates self-repair so that he will survive that second shot. Good usage of self-repair. He didn't think he was going to get to safety in time, so that self-repair activation did save him. For 60 munitions to preserve your light tank, it's a pretty good deal. Conscript's jumping into this building right here, and the mortar will have to pull back to safety a little bit. Barton's struggling, and now harassment is not very safe. We'll be forced to retreat right there. Although I think a Panzerfaust will kill a T-70 if it has only self-repair HP, because self-repair heals less than Panzerfaust deals. So that T-70 has to be very careful to kite. Grenadiers very careful when it does do counter harassment like that. Moving back towards the base now to get repairs from this combat engineer squad, and these 2 squads moving up to engage against these Grenadiers. Flamethrower engaging against these conscripts in green cover with mortar support. They probably will be forced to retreat soon, but not before the flamethrower disengages. Grenadiers will also disengage. Nice mortar though. Nice mortar hit right there. Up to 10 kills. Pretty good against conscript support. Starting to stack up the bleed. Needs to keep that going over the course of a pretty long game to get a return on that investment though. And he is doing a good job of extending the game. The benefit of fighting for the right side is that you're harder to cut off and this victory point is easier to defend. The benefit of fighting for the left side is that there are more long-range engagements. And Barton is clearly focusing more on the right side and it seems to be paying off this game, because he's in no real danger of losing anytime soon, and he seems to be engaging pretty cost effectively and managing the threat of his opponent's T-70 relatively well. Shooting at him. It's kind of weird. T-70 going in on this Grenadier in the building right here. It will leave the structure. Conscripts in this building, falling a little bit low, will be forced to retreat. AT gun is set up over here. And Teller mine going down in the road. I'm pretty sure that T-70 can see that, by the way. Not anymore, hiding behind this building. LMG Grenadiers force away a conscript squad over here on the right side. The T-70 is looking for an opportunity, but will get Panzerfausted, I think. That's engine damage. AT gun needs to be careful, though. I don't think it can really go in on that T-70 too hard. Grenadiers will provide vision inside the house. That AT gun may get a line on it while it's in the road. Trying to circle. Shot misses barely. Barely. T-70 should probably be able to get to safety. I don't know. I don't think that AT gun should chase too aggressively here. Sets up next to the building. Takes a shot, which will connect. T-70 needs to try to get to safety. AT gun will lose vision. Barely. Here comes an attack ground attempt through the hedge. Goes quite wide, and the T-70 should be fine. Flanking squad of conscripts tries to get an AT grenade off, but a machine gun is perfectly positioned for that flanking attempt and will force this retreat. The triple cap is going to be stopped over here by Grenadiers on the VP. LMG Gren's taking control of this area. Incendiary artillery and a T-34 on the field going in hard on this AT gun, but there's engine damage. Second AT gun set up perfectly for this. This AT gun sets up to take another shot and is still alive and will fire. Maybe not quite. This one has to get around the hedge to assist in this engagement, and that AT gun will fire, and the T-34 goes down. Nicely played by Barton, and good timing on that second AT gun to save the day right there. This one's going to have to head back to base for healing, and the T-70 was still getting repaired. Engagement's going quite well for Barton thus far, and like I said, Soviet Tier 3 is the scariest thing he will have to deal with this game. Nothing worse than what has already happened is going to happen, so if Barton can just continue to execute well and slowly grow his map control, he should be able to take control of this game. LMG Grenadiers heading right to get control of this strategic point. That building, both buildings here actually destroyed by that incendiary artillery will probably actually just help Barton to defend this area, because he won't have to worry about getting Molotov'd out or flamethrowed out or incendiary artillery out of those buildings. He has a lot fewer building counters than his opponent does, so buildings being gone actually helps him more than anything, really. T-70 is moving to re-engage. There's an AT gun setting up here. to cover this road. The other AT gun moving back a little bit to protect against this avenue of approach. Mortar gets a pretty good hit off on the squad there in the back, but this may prove to be a little too much for that mortar to handle. Those two squads of piles will be forced to retreat. That might even get wiped. Ooh, another good mortar though. Significantly weakening this push with those two mortars. Very good mortars right there. Two squads forced to retreat. These two making their way to the front line. Flamethrower will take control of the cutoff. One squad of conscripts left in the area. AT gun is moving to try and support in this engagement. The other AT gun set up way here in the back. T-70 cannot expose itself for too long on any particular front, or will be in pretty serious danger. And if it takes engine damage, it will be in very serious danger. Panzerfaust does not quite connect. AT gun shot does not quite connect. T-70 will continue to circle around and hide behind buildings. Attacking ground through the structure, clearly not really working. I think that T-70 is sweeping for mines. I could see that, sure. There are no teller mines, fortunately. He hasn't located any yet, though.
T-34 ready for combat.
Molotov tossed there into the shrubs, and mortar should be able to help turn this engagement. Slowly firing, hasn't managed to kill anything yet, though.
The enemy has 300 points remaining.
Rifle grenade over the hedge to weaken that conscript squad. Actually dealt very good damage right there. Continues to engage with the mortar. Molotov toss will force that squad to retreat or die. Whoa, no reaction from Barton, and that squad gets melted in the Molotov flames. New T-34 on the field. No munitions for a Panzerfaust. You can't damage the engine. This is going to get forced to reposition or retreat by incendiary artillery. T-70 moving up from this flank will take an AT gun shot, but got clear of the arc of fire, and the mortar half-track is destroyed. Machine gun and AT gun wiped by incendiary artillery. This could be a decisive push if this last AT gun doesn't save the day and trade. He needs to trade, but he has no munitions for a Panzerfaust, and he can't damage any engines. No, he needs to cancel this teller mine in the road to give himself munitions for Fausts. Everything falling apart over here on the right side. The house of cards is crumbling down. Conscripts might get wiped over here by a machine gun, make a bit of a late retreat, but I guess they'll probably get away. There's the Panzerfaust, finally. A T-gun is in position, will kill the T-34. Good trade, he took out something, and if he can recover some team weapons over here, it's not too late to salvage this game. And he has made it to Battle Phase 2, by the way. He just hasn't gotten the tech structure up and hasn't gotten the resources together for an actual tank of his own. But he does have a fuel point here. That engagement went pretty bad, but it could have been worse. It could have gone worse. He just really wants to kill that T-70, I'm sure. That thing is such a nuisance, and I think he should cancel that teller mine if he's not going to complete it. Because it's 50 munitions. That's 2 Panzerfausts just floating right there. T-70 forced to retreat right there.
Enemy has killed a machine gun crew.
And it gets wiped again. Piles retreating into the base. Tier 3 is going up, and Barton is actually pretty close to a Panzer IV. Once that Panzer IV comes out, it will be a lot easier to deal with these T-70s, which might go down. Oh, and it's abandoned! Abandoned right there where Barton can recover it, and I don't think there's anything anywhere that can prevent Barton from recovering it. 4-man Grenadier squad is moving to get that. Conscript squad might get wiped. Oh no! Incendiary artillery coming down right here. That T-70 should be able to get back to safety. Grenadiers have to retreat right here. This could be a huge turning point for Barton this game. He will have a T-70 on the field, trying to get it to safety away from a chasing T-70 right there. I feel like it might be long gone. I don't know. I can't tell. It's going to depend on RNG a little bit. AT gun cannot get a shot off right there. T-70 gets through clear of its arc of fire. Turns to fire on the T-70. Shot bounces. Main gun destroyed. Is this really happening? Out of control. There it goes. Okay, he'll save the day, just barely, but he's forced to dive a T-70 into his opponent's base, and it may not be able to get away once the Panzerfaust connects. If Barton could just get the munitions together. T-70 may be able to get to safety if it can go wide enough left. I don't know why Barton wouldn't Faust that to death, trying to get an AT gun in position here to seal the deal, and there and it will get abandoned again. Wow, this RNG, I can't even believe that. This one, there's gonna be no way Cheese can stop that from being stolen. Nothing he can do about that. Unbelievable. Well, another T-70 in production. Desperation move to try and save the day has now handed Barton 2 light tanks, and the Panzer IV is going to be hitting the field very soon if he doesn't set up some very aggressive defenses over here on this victory point to try and get a triple cap going and seal this game. It could get very difficult from this point forward. Very, very difficult. There is a stolen AT gun over here, fortunately. Conscripts making their way over to the right side to start getting that triple cap set up, but the T-70 is fully repaired. It may be difficult to defend this AT gun, but stealing this AT gun is huge. That will actually really help Cheese a lot if he can keep that thing alive. T-70 moves to harass these conscripts over here on the right side, and there's the retreat. And Grenadiers will at least be able to recover this machine gun. Barton might even want to consider a half-track, but he obviously doesn't want to slow down his Panzer IV any more than he has to, because he's been waiting a long time just to get out one Tier 3 unit. And finally, 21 minutes into the game, finally, Panzer IV is on its way to help save the day. Grenadiers move to take control of some territory over here while there is a brief moment of quiet.
Headquarters attacked. We are losing a sector.
AT gun gets cleared by incendiary artillery. The stolen T-70 chases away that squad over there. The AT gun is not that painful to lose though, because there is a Panzer IV on its way, and he will be able to recover and recruit those weapons right outside of his base. Meanwhile, his infantry squads are much more important to preserve. Hopefully he'll be able to do so. Panzer Faust going off on that T-70 now to damage its engine. May not be able to escape from this Panzer IV once it hits the field, and it is on its way. The stolen AT gun, however, is available to push away that stolen T-70. The Panzer IV may want to be careful, but it moves up to take a shot on the T-70. He's having trouble getting in range. T-70 does have a damaged engine though, and the Panzer IV is circling around this. Oh, it's nice. It's really not going to keep going on that. Apparently not. The stolen T-70 receiving some repairs up here will probably bleed these conscripts advance. And a triple cap will be going against Barton soon. I honestly think Barton should transition to fighting for the left side, which is undefended and would favor him in engagements a lot. Although it is a harder victory point to take because it's so far away, but he has a superior mobile force. He has a T-70 and a Panzer IV, so he has a very mobile army. He could definitely start taking territory on the left and engage at range with his LMGs. I feel like he may have a little bit of tunnel vision over here on the right side, but he could probably win engagements over here too if he executes well. T-70 putting pressure on those Grens to retreat. Barton will recover both team weapons here in his base. MG42 and AT gun recovered. That squad's going to have to retreat. There they go. Panzer IV moves to engage here in the back a little bit. AT gun will turn to counter, and Panzer IV may take engine damage right there from an AT grenade. It will have to pull back to safety now. AT gun is set up to fire on the T-70, and it will get the shot off as it circles around, so it's in a little bit of danger here. MG42 is getting sniped as it tries to set up and will probably have to retreat. There's a flamethrower over here to protect, and a T-70 is putting pressure on these conscripts over here from range. Panzer IV also doing what it can, while the AT gun does not have a line on it. It's about to finish its top-mount machine gun upgrade, which will definitely help its performance against infantry, and the flamethrower might be able to push away these conscripts. The clock continues to tick against Barton very quickly, though, and he's not succeeding in getting control of a VP. Another shot connects with the T-70 right there from the AT gun. Panzer, oh, that T-70 might wipe that. Gets away very narrowly, and the AT gun will force that T-70 to retreat. Both of them microing T-70s furiously. T-34 and Panzer IV are both on the field now as well. They both have one Pack 40, they both have one T-70, and they both have one medium tank, which is a very strange dynamic. But Cheese appears to be coming out ahead in most engagements. T-70 bleeding those Grens at range. AT gun trying to get a line on something. MG42 not set up for this, but the Panzer IV is fully repaired and will start damaging those conscripts on their advance, and that squad takes very heavy damage, is forced to retreat. T-70 also doing an excellent job bleeding those conscripts hard. Wow, look at that damage. Flamethrower will force that AT gun back slightly. This could be a big push here by Cheese, who does have access to an incendiary strike if he even chooses to use it. Conscripts clear that. A fresh mortar half-track just got fielded. That's a weird decision. T-34 going in hard on that T-70 and wipes the repairing Pio squad. It is now in extreme danger, but a T-34 shot missed. Panzer IV also in danger. The T-34 will ram that, though. Why would he do that? It doesn't even die, and now that T-34 is immobilized and has no main gun. It's probably going to get destroyed, but at the same time, the AT gun here has been stolen. T-70 will get its main gun destroyed. This T-70 moving up to support in the engagement. Barton getting pushed completely off the map, loses the stolen T-70. His Panzer IV is his last hope, and he doesn't have any of his team weapons left. He's losing. He's triple capped, and I don't know if he can come back from this situation if he doesn't pull off some kind of miracle against all these stolen AT guns.
The enemy has 100 points remaining.
Can Grenadiers use an immobilized T-34 as cover? No. That would be kind of funny, though. Grenadiers gonna have to retreat away from this engagement. The T-70 putting pressure on those Grenadiers. The mortar also bringing them low from friendly fire. Squad gets wiped. It looks like that's GG. It really does. Despite some incredibly lucky for RNG for Barton, he just couldn't execute well enough. And I think at some point during this game, he probably should have transitioned to the left side of this map. I think engagements might have gone better for him. He could never get a line on his opponent's tanks because of all the buildings. There's just too much clutter over here, and his AT guns could never get in position to kill this damn thing. 14 kills on that T-70. T-70 served Cheese very well this game in conjunction with well-executed flanks and pushes with PPSH conscripts, flamethrowers, and incendiary artillery to clear Barton's team weapons, steal them, and seal this game. Last final desperate push by Barton, making its way through these buildings. AT guns will be set up for this push, including the usage of target weak point on that thing, which will shock it and probably destroy it. Main gun destroyed. Panzer IV will try to pull back to safety, but gets destroyed out of control. Panzer IV is down, and there is now nothing Barton can do to win this game. With only 34 victory points remaining, he makes a desperate attempt for the left side VP, which he will discover is completely undefended. Unfortunately, that is far too late of a transition to that half of the map. Good game. And Cheese defeats his third challenger.